Minister, what happens to there's 206 bank accounts frozen from people who are either leaders of the convoy, donors to the convoy, or have parked their trucks there, worth $7.8 million. Those accounts were frozen. Are they, because the Emergencies Act is now over, are they unfrozen now? Does the RCMP retract those names from financial institutions? What happens to them now?
Well, we're informed that the RCMP and banks are working to unfreeze those accounts, and that's because they were effective. They worked. And this was an example of how the Emergencies Act was put into using some soft, non-physical, certainly non-confrontational force to deter and dissuade people from continuing to stay in the secure zone as we were trying to clear out and restore public safety, restore public order. So they are now undertaking the process of unfreezing those accounts. And that's another, I think, reassurance to the Canadians that there has been restraint, there has been proportionality, and there has been temporary with these powers.
Mr. I'm just trying to understand that. You're saying that when it came into effect February 15th, 206 accounts were frozen. Now they're going to be unfrozen. So what was the purpose of freezing them for 10 days? Is there any follow through? The deputy Prime Minister was saying they're going to follow the money, but was it just a short follow for 10 days? And now what? It's the accounts are unfrozen. Is that what you're saying?
Well, first and foremost, it was an effective tool. If you were still in the secure zone, they were able to freeze those accounts. And if you don't have access to your account, it's certainly hard to. It sends a very powerful signal that you should be leaving the zone as quickly as possible. But as to other decisions, as to how they will unwind and unfreeze, as you know, Evan, those will be undertaken by law enforcement and police in an independent way, but consistent with due process and charter rights.
Okay, but I just want to make it clear now. If someone has their account frozen for what they did at any time throughout these illegal protests from February 15th to this day today, once this is revoked, you're saying that any charge, that no one can have their account frozen now, and whoever's had their account frozen now will expect it immediately to be unfrozen. It is no longer legal to freeze the accounts. Is that actually the status now?
What I'm saying is that in accordance with our principles of operational independence, police will take those decisions. The financial institutions that are responsible for implementing the Emergencies Act provisions will take those decisions. And certainly there are reports around unfreezing, but those are all decisions which are being undertaken by law enforcement.
No, I'm not asking you for the specific. I appreciate that. But I'm just asking you, because you're the lawmaker, is it still legal to keep an account frozen once the EA, the Emergencies Act, is lifted? So is it still legal to keep an account frozen now? It was frozen under the law. The law is revoked. Is it still legal to have an account frozen?
If the account was frozen during the period and the law is now revoked, then that authority no longer exists. So our expectation, obviously, is that law enforcement will implement the revocation that has now been put into effect.
Okay. So anybody who's had so all those over 200 people who have had their accounts frozen, as soon as the Governor General signs this, it is no longer legal to have their account frozen. So maybe I can just ask, if the threat was ongoing for 10 days, how is your government going to, quote, follow the money now?
Well, look, there are a number of authorities that will allow, I think, law enforcement to look into the sources of contributions that may have aided and abetted the illegal blockade. And again, that's all undertaken by police in an independent matter. Evan, as you've pointed out now on a number of occasions, government writes the laws, we set the policies, we trust law enforcement and other public safety partners to implement them, including the steps that are taken around revocation. But the tools that were created under the Emergencies Act were done with the very specific intent to address the illegal blockade. And the ability to freeze accounts of those who were in designated zones where they should not have been was an effective tool to help disengage the illegal occupation in Ottawa.
Okay, I got a last question. If a threat reemerges, is your government prepared to re-invoke the Emergencies Act? Is that on the table?
Well, we don't want to go back there. I mean, this is meant to be a very sparingly used law. It's a last resort. And there are many lessons that we hope will be taken from the illegal blockades over the last number of weeks so that we don't have to invoke it again. Right. But there's no doubt that there's a lot to reflect on here in terms of the underlying motivations, the tactics, the timing, the techniques. And that is going to be, I think, a big part of the work that is undertaken by the Joint Committee. It'll be a big part of the work of the mandatory inquiry, which will start within 60 days, and part of the discussions that we all need to have. We introduced the Emergencies Act because we had to, but we knew that if we did so, if it was done responsibly and with restraint and transparency, that it would work. Right. And certainly now, in light of the significant progress that we have seen, we were quite pleased to be able to revoke it today.
Okay, I got to leave it there. Public Safety Minister Marco Mendicino, thank you, sir, for joining me. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Evan.